Hello
I
everyone.
would like you guys to take note of the
As
following
you all would
points
know by
before
now,
we proceed.
in line with the global lockdown, we've been asked to work from home, and luckily for me, where I work is where I live. So I'm supposed to be taking you guys introduction to intelligence and security studies, otherwise known as ISS111. Established that I'm taking this course under the supervision of Professor Okoro, and I'm sure he has given you guys a background, a foundation to work on, a definition of intelligence and what the course is all about. And I would continue from there. Now, some of you might be curious because a student came to sign course form and was asking me some questions. That why is it not criminology? Why is it intelligence and security studies? The answer is simple. I would like to say it briefly because I know some of you must have asked the same question somewhere. Intelligence and security studies. Hmm? Now, by your understanding of the definition of intelligence, you know there is an element there, proactiveness. Criminology simply is the study of crime. Hmm? Now, for you to study crime, it means it must have occurred now, right? But in intelligence, we try as much as possible, even though there are elements of intelligence, there are areas of intelligence that deal with investigation, quite all right. That's why it's intelligence and security studies. It covers intelligence, investigation, security, physical security, everything. But basically, the central difference is this. Intelligence teaches you to be proactive. We try to make sure the crime does not occur in the first place. Meanwhile, criminologists wait for the crime to occur before they investigate. They are reactive. Intelligence is proactive, so to say. Now, now, the criminal world today is such a dynamic environment that requires a time-to-time shift in the methods, that we use to fight crime. What I mean by the criminal world being dynamic is that, you know, as much as law enforcement agencies are trying to draft out measures to fight crime, different kind of measures today, criminals are also improvising. The crime they were committing in 1960s is not the same with the crime they're committing now. The equipments they were using then, the equipments we're using now, they're all different. Now, with the rapid increase in population, and the advent of technology, you find out that crime has become, very easy to perpetrate and very difficult for law enforcement agencies to curb. This is so because the same technology at the disposal of the law enforcement agencies is at the disposal of criminals. Take, for instance, the use of cyber technology. We have, fraudsters today using the internet to commit different kinds of crime. The same internet that the police would like to use to catch those criminals, to apprehend those criminals, the same technology at the disposal of criminals. Now, fighting crime has become difficult. And with this dynamism in the criminal world, there needs to be some level of technological advancement in the intelligence environment as well. Now, traditionally, law enforcement agencies were focused on crime management through uh, criminal investigation. You know, they waited for the crimes to occur, then they go around investigating, they apprehend the suspects, they charge them, they try them, and all of that. But then, in these days, we don't wait for crime to occur. You know, like I said earlier, the cardinal element of intelligence is proactiveness. The ability of intelligence to prevent a crime from occurring in the first place is what makes it intelligence. For the crime to occur, it therefore means that intelligence has failed intelligence. Subsequently, I'm going to teach you guys some causes of intelligence failure. So back to our difference between intelligence and criminology. For a crime to occur, it means intelligence has failed. Well, we're switching to criminology. Mm, that is not to say, however, that intelligence does not work in criminal investigations, mind you. Even when you're investigating, you're reacting to a crime that has already occurred, you still look for intelligence. So I would like to say they're not mutually exclusive, they go hand in hand. You can't be an expert in intelligence without having some basic knowledge about criminology. You can't be an expert in criminology without intelligence. It's not possible. My favorite definition of intelligence is that of McLowenthal, who says uh, intelligence is both a process, a product, and an organization. Huh? Now, what is intelligence as a process? Intelligence as a process simply refers to those processes that are inherent in the intelligence cycle. I'm going to explain that. Those are the steps through which information is being processed and transformed into actionable intelligence. Underline the keyword actionable. Now, what we mean by actionable is information is not actionable, all right? But intelligence is actionable or should be actionable. If it's not actionable, then it's not intelligence. Unless for strategic purposes. It's still actionable if you say it's for strategic purposes. Now, as a process, intelligence can be thought of as the means by which the type of information required, requested, collected, analyzed, and disseminated, and the way in which certain types of covert action are conceived and conducted. Pro bono. As a product, intelligence can be thought of as the result of those processes. Which process are we talking about? The requirement process, collection, processing, and exploitation, all of that. Those are the processes that McLowenthal is identifying. To McLowenthal, those are the defining elements of intelligence. Now, as a product, the result of your processes, that's your product now, right? As an organization, these processes don't just carry out themselves. They're being carried out by a group of persons or an organization. The organization that carries out those processes and utilizes the product, that's the organization. Sherman Kent also goes further to define intelligence as both information and an organized system for collecting and exploiting it. I wouldn't want to bore you guys back to definition of intelligence. Put simply, intelligence is a body of information that has passed through the rigor of the intelligence process, the intelligence cycle. Now, I would like us to go straight to the intelligence cycle. Now, that's the, the Bible of intelligence. You cannot be a graduate of intelligence and security studies without being able to, dissect the intelligence cycle. You're supposed to have broad knowledge of the workings of the intelligence process. It has different nomenclature. Some people call it the intelligence cycle, some call it the intelligence process. In some texts, you see the oscillation of intelligence, like the process, the cyclic process. So I think we should go to the board now. Now, the first question I get each year is, sir, how come we have different kinds of intelligence cycle in different textbooks? The reason I'm going to explain. We have intelligence cycle for strategic purposes, policy making. We have intelligence process for military operations. The intelligence process for, say, policy formulation is not the same with intelligence process for military operations. Now, ordinarily, you should concern yourself with this model. This is for policy formulation. Requirement, collection, processing, and exploitation. Then we have the analysis stage, then dissemination. Now, the first stage of the intelligence cycle at this level, in other texts, you will see something like direction or planning, collection, probably collation analysis. These two are merged in some stages, in some models. You'd see dissemination. And there are, certain sub-stages between these stages. For instance, between collection and processing, there could be collation. Between processing and analysis, there could be, evaluation and all of that, depending on the purpose for which, the intelligence cycle is being designed. But basically, don't get yourself confused. These are the basic processes that must be inherent in all intelligence cycles. Now, there are links between each and every one of them. In a cyclic form, it goes like this. In the cyclic form, it goes requirement, collection, processing and exploitation, analysis, dissemination. Now, between dissemination and back to requirement, there would be, production and maybe utilization or execution. But basically, these are the steps you should concern yourself about. Now, the requirement stage, the first stage of the intelligence cycle, is a stage where you're giving a direction, a specification, an indication by who? The consumer of the kind of information that is required. Take for instance, you're working for the Nigerian Army and you're giving a direction. Say you're a major, you're giving a direction or a directive, if you call it, to find out where Abubakar Shekau lives, or find out if Abubakar Shekau is alive. That's a requirement, that's a direction, that is an intelligence task, alright? You've been given a task by your superior. Find out who killed Mr. A, find out who killed Mr. B. Those are requirements. Now, find out where Abubakar Shekau lives, that's a requirement, alright? You don't just sit on a requirement and expect magic to happen. You go around collecting information. Mind you, I didn't say collecting intelligence. Now, back then I was asking my professor, I said, sir, why are we calling it intelligence gathering, not information gathering? We said information is not intelligence until it has been what? Analyzed, right? So, is it right for people to say intelligence gathering, information gathering? I leave you to wonder about that. But then the answer my prof gave me was this. You're collecting information with the intention that you transform it into intelligence. Now, at the analysis stage, you do away with the one that is useless, so to say. So therefore, you can actually say intelligence gathering, but I prefer to say information at this stage. At the collection stage, you're collecting information using intelligence sources. You explore so many sources. We have imagery intelligence, IMINT. We have OSINT, open source intelligence. We have geospatial intelligence. We have a lot of them. We have all source intelligence. Now for imagery intelligence, from the word imagery, you know what imagery means. The use of CCTV cameras, for instance, the use of drones to, capture images. Those are imagery intelligence. Open source intelligence, your newspaper, everybody now is online looking for information about coronavirus now, right? Those are open sources. The newspaper, the social media, everything about it is open. It's not restricted. Access to open source intelligence is unrestricted. You have the geospatial intelligence. Subsequently, I would explain there's a technical difference between geospatial intelligence and imagery intelligence. Imagery intelligence is just pictorial data, right? Pictures. Meanwhile, geospatial intelligence may or may not be pictures, but then it's, information about basically the geography, the surface of the earth. It could be distance from point A to point B. If, in line with our requirement, I like to go practical. Our requirement is to find out if Shekau is alive, or find out where Shekau lives, if he is alive. Now, if you find out that Shekau is in Sambisa forest, and then you get you get the distance from your base using a drone. If you get a picture of Sambisa forest from your base, it's imagery intelligence. But if you get the distance, you calculate from our base in Bama to Sambisa forest is maybe 15 kilometers, right? That's geospatial intelligence. I hope you're following. Now, we're going to explore all these sources to collect different bits of information. Let's assume we get images. We have imagery intelligence now, right? From the media, maybe somebody is out there on the internet proselytizing for Shekau, spreading information about their attacks and all of that. Do you know from open source you can have a lot of information about Boko Haram? How? These people, they post pictures, they post videos. What do? You analyze those pictures. You process them, right? You hear background noise, the background images. All of that would help you, you have a clue of where they are actually. The terrain, the kinds of animals that are present there. All those things will give you a picture. Now, you've collected information, all right? What do? You collate, you bring them together, you process them. In processing stage, basically what we do is we evaluate the sources from which we got the information. Now, in the process of evaluating the sources, there are different criteria that we use. In the process of evaluating the source, we want to ascertain, one, the reliability and proximity of the source. Proximity, then appropriateness. Now, we've received different kinds of information from different sources now, right? We have already collected information from all these sources, every source. Now we want to check, we want to evaluate the sources from which we got those informations now, right? We do what? We do reliability test, proximity test, appropriateness test. Now, how do you ascertain the reliability of information? There are different methods of doing it, but for now you can deal with the past performance. Should we say, the reputation of the source. Now, there are different media outlets. Say, for instance, you just get information from a blog, open source now, right? You get information from a blog, a very new blog that probably is just looking for fame. And you get information from a big blog, the likes of Linda Ikinji, Sahara Reporters, and all of that. Which one would you see as more reliable on the basis of past performance? Reliability, that's the first criteria. The second one is proximity. Now, how close is your source to the information he or she is giving you? Sorry, I'm personifying source now. We're going back to human intelligence, humans. The use of spies and all of that. Now, if I'm giving you information about the Department of Intelligence and Security Studies, what's the proximity level of me and the information I'm giving you? I'm close to this system because I work here now, right? So my proximity level is high. If somebody that works in the Nigerian army is giving you information about the Nigerian army, proximity level is high. Proximity simply means the degree of closeness. If you want to get information about, say, the Force Intelligence Bureau of the Nigerian Police Force, now, would you go to a police officer that works there, or would you go to probably a cleaner in the area? Now, that's what I mean by proximity. Is my source reliable? Is my source close to the information he or she is giving me? Now, appropriateness. Is that source in an official capacity to actually have access to the information he or she is giving you? Now, if someone should give me information about Abubakar Shekau, say Abubakar Shekau is alive, is in so place, is that person in an official capacity to have access to that information? If I'm receiving information from a battlefield commander, that person is an official capacity to have access to that kind of information. There are different clearance levels when it comes to information. I'm going to deal with that later. Now, the analysis stage is a different ballgame. But then basically the analysis stage is a stage where information is being filtered. Information is being filtered, refined. We do a lot of analysis. There are different methods. You can use brainstorming, you can use nominal group technique, you can use statistical method, you can use analogy. I'll teach you all of that. You analyze it now, right? You refine it. You do some additions and subtractions. The one that is useful, you take it. The one that is actionable, you take it. The one that you see is not, verified. From the processing stage, you've already started analysis. The ones that are useless, you throw them away. You cannot ascertain their reliability, proximity, or appropriateness of the source. You then don't need to have that kind of information. You don't need to analyze it. The source is not reliable. The source is not close to the information you're getting from it or from him or her. Source is not appropriately supposed to have access to that kind of information. That information you use, if you don't have to analyze it. You could still proceed to analysis and realize that the information you just collected is useless. Then, after analyzing intelligence, what do? You disseminate it now, right? Dissemination, back to who? The policy maker, the consumer, he or she who gave you the requirement, the direction. Basically, that's the intelligence cycle in a nutshell. Now, let's break down the processes one by one.